Hello, Tiger fans. Thanks for joining us for a new week of Tiger Timeout on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you in the studio as we visit with the head coach of Lady Tiger basketball, Ginger High, Colvin, Campbellsville University. Got a week off, an early season week off last week, Coach, and I know the schedule at some point, it'll be a grind. It always becomes a grind, but early in the year, I know you were looking forward to a little time you got 2 games, assess some things, and how can we get better as a team? That's always a good time to have that.
And that's been a good week, and we have some of our varsity players playing on the JV schedule as well, and that's a pretty packed schedule first semester. And as a matter of fact, they played 3 games this last weekend. And like we mentioned, had a couple kids that were sick. We're still trying to get back in the rotation. Bailey Pettigo tweaked her knee a little bit. So we made a lot happen this last week, just getting some kids healthy and working on some stuff.
We've kind of combed through the roster over the first couple of weeks here, and obviously we've talked about the games and the matchups. And one thing that's been a constant for you over the last 15 years has been Miranda Denny. And she has been through the ups and the downs and the building the program or continuing to build the program and all that goes along with that. Let's talk about your assistant coach. And I know she was giving you some grief this week, and I even felt a little bit of that.
I know, a little pressure, right?
And so we got to make sure that we talk her up and all good things about Miranda Denny.
I think that we always talk about, you always have to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and better than you. And that's the one thing I've done right was with Miranda, and obviously we call her Hootie. She does such an outstanding job. She's coming off the Mid-South Conference Assistant Coach of the Year, WBCA National Assistant Coach of the Year, and she could get it every year. She's just that good. She's so good at all the X's and O's, all the scouts. She's just so dedicated in what we do, and she's such a great person. She's such a great role model for the kids to follow as well. And she helps them with their homework. She helps them with anything they need. She's there, and for me as well. She's just like you said. She's there steady. She could go. She's been offered multiple jobs. People seek her out just about every time there's a job that's open, and I think Campbell's University is super blessed that she's just content with where she is. She's happy with what she's doing, and I just can't imagine there's anybody better in the field than her. You know,
she's one of those people that, and it's kind of rare, but I feel like she thinks in numbers. And
does she?
When her brain moves, it's numbers, which is interesting. But she teaches a little bit for the university as well in the math department and different things. And we see teams and some coaching staffs. Maybe that first assistant is a student or a kid that's right out of college and different things. There's got to be so much on a daily basis that you don't even think about because you have her. What are some of those things that coaches have to do that Ginger High Colvin just doesn't think about because she's got it?
I probably don't want to know everything. She's so good, like you said. She's a numbers person. She loves to handle the budget. She loves to handle loves to handle it. She handles the budget. She handles the travel, all the booking of the hotels, all of the just the stuff that has to be specific. She's very good at that. I'm not good at that. I'm more of a fly by the seat of my pants, and she just likes to have that stuff planned out. And she's just so good at, like you say, the number stuff. She's a planner, and she helps us stay online. She helps us stay on track with what we do.
The second assistant spot for you over the last few years has been held by Madison Clements, before her Lindsey Bird. So you've been, you've had those Lady Tigers kind of a pipeline to stay in the program, and Madison Faulkner helped as well when time would allow.
We got to mention Faulkner, right?
And so that'd be another phone call. And so Madison Clements and Madison Faulkner move on. Both of those young ladies get jobs at the high school level. So congratulations to them first and foremost. You bring in Brett Sow. He's a guy that's been around campus for a number of years. He's worked missions and enrollment and different things around campus. You bring him in. He now guides the JV program, and I know he gives you at times a practice body and a lot of other stuff going on.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what we would do right now without Brett. He practices with us every day, and he's perfect. He's very athletic. He's quick. He's physical, but he's not rough with the girls. He does a really good job. And Brett is the son-in-law of one of my very best lifelong friends, and he's always prodded at me. Come on, give me a job. Help me work this out. So when the Madisons had jobs come up for them, it was just, I just thought, oh, you know what? He's asked me several times, and he's jumped in. He's jumped in both feet. He's hit the ground running. He's coaching his JV program and doing a great job with that. And he's a sports junkie. Brett helps with play-by-play, I think, on football as well. And he's just a really good person to have around as well. And the kids really like him. We really like him, and we're happy to have him.
Yeah, before Brett and his wife got married, he lived in our basement for a little bit to save money. And it was one of those things I told him. I said, this is the next big step in your life. Take some time, save some money, and all that stuff. Don't pay $500 or $600 for an apartment. So there's still probably some damages and things that I might want to look into.
He owes some back taxes for you,
we'll have to check on that. But anyway, congratulations to Brett. He's a Russellville native, Logan County High School product. He came to Campbellsville University, was going to play baseball or played baseball for a period of time, and now he's on the Lady Tiger bench. So we'll step away here. The Lady Tigers have a busy week coming up. 3 games in Mid-South Conference play. UT Southern, Cumberland University, Lindsey Wilson College, all on the road. Fun times for Campbellsville University basketball. We'll step away, come back, and look at those matchups. Stay here with us on Tiger Timeout.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Tiger Timeout continues here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we take a look around Lady Tiger basketball. We talked about the coaching staff. It's a busy week for this staff as they move forward into Mid-South Conference play. 2 games under their belt, and they jump right into Mid-South Conference action with UT Southern on the road Thursday night. That is a 5:30 Central Time tip-off. We'll have it at 6:30 for you on 88.7 The Tiger. Coverage begins at 6:15. Coach, UT Southern is a team a lot like many in the Mid-South that trying to replace some pieces.
Right.
You guys, we talked about it, Ashley McGeorge and Faith and Lexi Lake and Shyla Calvert, Madison Shepard, who you didn't get anything out of due to injury and all that. So you're replacing stuff as well.
Yep.
UT Southern may be replacing their 3 best players, their best post, their best scorer, their best defensive player and point guard. So Coach Evans has his hands full in the early season, and that's just life around the Mid-South, I think.
Anytime you have to replace a point guard, that's hard. You not that the other positions aren't important, but when you get a point guard like he had that's just a veteran that's just, and like you said, best defensive player as well. So that was a big one. And then his score was one that made you pay attention, really close attention, because she shot the ball quickly, and then he had a big post that developed late and was good for them as well. And so that's they're a little different, whereas more people are taking those shots, and they're really getting up and down the floor. They're really physical, really aggressive defensively, and we've got our hands full for sure.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? When you know that they have a Taylor McNary and a Faith Sherrow and a Savannah Walker, you know what you're getting. You know what you're preparing for, right? Now all of a sudden it's like, oh great, they don't have these really good players, but now we got to start to look at this a different way and figure out tendencies and different things with the matchup. We got to be interesting.
You get to know all these kids, and you watch them grow up, and you watch their games evolve, and now it's just it's a new group, like you said, and we're trying to figure out what they are, what they're comfortable with, what maybe will offset them a little bit, and it's nothing that we're looking forward to, that's for sure.
UT Southern comes in 2-1 on the year. The Lady Tigers 2-0. Campbellsville averaging about 95 points per ball game. UT Southern just under 80 as you take a look at some of the numbers there. Campbellsville, 89.7% from the free throw line. Coach, you guys were really good down in McKenzie in terms of the charity stripe, and a lot of times maybe an overlooked portion of the game, but I know that's got to make life a little less stressful on the bench when you see those go in.
It does, and it's something you want to obviously keep up. It's, you know, free throws are something that if you're invested, you're going to get in and you're going to shoot free throws, and you're going to hopefully keep yourself and your team to where you can be successful there. You don't want to lose points at the free throw line.
Campbellsville will take on Cumberland University Saturday, the Phoenix in Lebanon, Tennessee. That'll be a 2 Eastern tip-off, 1 o'clock Central there in Lebanon. And Coach, the Phoenix, Coach Bloom has kind of revamped that squad as well. Some new faces. They lost the conference's Player of the Year, Tyler Johnson, so they're trying to replace some things also. But a lot of good players back with Freeman and Rongos, and you mentioned Brittany Miller off camera that they've gotten back. So a lot of big bodies, physical presence for that club.
And like they're almost the flip of Tennessee Southern, that they have more of those kids back. And when they got Brittany Miller back into that lineup, she's just a force inside. And they've added some size for their backup post players. And I think Lindsey Freeman plays as hard as anybody in the league. She does an outstanding job, shoots it quick. Rongo shoots it quick, so he has 2 guards that really can stretch the defense. And then when you have Brittany Miller, she's crafty inside, strong. And they've got a really good bench, kids that come in off the bench for them. Their point guard's super quick, gets it down the floor. And they're all just really rim hungry. They turn the corner on you, and they'll try their best to get to the rim. And so they're a team that's super talented. Somebody that we'll have to play one of our best games to go down there and get that one. And
as you stay on the road, you get 2 road games in. That one will be one of the only 2 trips where you have that Mid-South Thursday, Saturday on the road. You only have 2 at home that way, so it's a bit of an adjustment to the schedule. And then things get no easier right before the Thanksgiving holiday. You'll make the short trip to Columbia to take on the Blue Raiders. At what point does the communication between you and John B. Wethington go dark leading up to that game?
Earlier on, probably we didn't, but now we just talk it up. We talk. I don't know that. That even the day of the game, most of the time it snows or rains. So we're always talking about the roads and talking about, he usually makes it over there before us, so he'll call and tell. Hopefully it's not going to snow. I don't think it's in the forecast, but chances are it will rain. I can't imagine the years that we've played that it's not had some kind of a rainstorm. But yeah, John and I we're pretty much open books. We know each other's tendencies. We know what's going on, so there's no reason to try to hide it.
You get Lindsey Wilson on Tuesday. That's right there before the holiday. It'll be an interesting environment there. Kids may be gone and off campus, heading home for Thanksgiving. Not a bad thing if you're a Campbellsville fan. They lost Bree Glover. They lost Haley Eisen. So you can sense the theme here with these games. Some of these teams replacing big components, but they still have Malia Oldham and others that can really play.
Yeah, they've got he's brought in some really solid kids. And he's pressing a little bit more this year. They did get beat at home by Pikeville, but Pikeville's a veteran team, and they're I think one of the best teams in our league, and a team that our league is just so strong. 8, 9 teams deep, but I feel like Lindsey's got a lot of really great pieces. Oldham can get hot in a second and really light it up from outside, and then he's got shooters, he's got the guards, and he's brought some kids in from the post spot too. And I don't care what the situation is, it's always really a good crowd at Lindsey. The communities, I think, get into it as much as the students do, and it'll be a good game. There's no doubt about it.
Coach, see if you can work in some rest between all of these Mid-South Conference basketball games over the next week. Certainly wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Lady Tigers in action Thursday evening. UT Southern, the first of those matchups for Campbellsville, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central Time start down in Pulaski. We'll step away, take a quick timeout, come back and visit with the head coach of Tiger basketball, Brent Vernon, here on Tiger Timeout.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
It took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Thanks for staying with us here on Tiger Timeout. Matt Payton with you as we transition over to Tiger basketball. Campbellsville University will hit the road this weekend. UT Southern and Cumberland University, Mid-South Conference doubleheaders, as we touched on previously. The Tigers were in action this past weekend, however, down in Williamsburg. They come out of there with a split at the O. Wayne Rollins Center. Campbellsville losing the first game of the weekend to West Virginia Tech 74-71. What was a hard-fought battle. They end up getting a victory over Alice Lloyd on Saturday to close that event out. And Coach, two totally different games in a lot of ways, but they also bared some similarities as well. We talk about West Virginia Tech first here, and that's a team that was voted preseason to win that league. You knew they were going to be really good. Andrew Work, a terrific player, one of the probably one of the best players in the country. I don't think that's a stretch. And back and forth you went in the second half, got down early, came back, and there were periods where it looked like you guys were in good shape. Credit to them, they wouldn't go away, and unfortunately a hard-fought loss there on Saturday.
Yeah, it was, and our guys did a good job. We competed. Start to finish. We've got to find a way to get off on a better note in the beginning of games. We've really struggled on that this year. For 35 minutes, we were the better team. The first 5, they were just better than us. Got down, I think, 13-1. Really fought back. Took a lead late in the game. I think we were up maybe 7 with about 6 minutes to go. The rim got a little smaller for us. Couldn't convert on some things, and hard to get in a little bit of a flow. But we battled. And just came up a little short of what we were going there to do, which is get 2 wins.
You talk about it hard to get in the rhythm, and some of that comes from 62 total free throws shot in that game. And there are sometimes, it's rare, but sometimes you get a lot of free throws, but you still feel like teams have an offensive rhythm and different things. But most of the time, it just sucks the life out of the building, out of the basketball, however you want to put it. It's just hard, and when you're early in the season and you're trying to figure all those things out, I feel like it's the last thing you need.
It is, and I think it was for both teams. I mean, like you said, 62 free throws. I think we shot 3 more than they did, so it wasn't that there was a discrepancy there. But what, to me, truly happened in the last 6 minutes, it just took the flow away from both teams because it seemed like every possession there was a call that stopped any kind of flow that could be gotten. They made a few more free throws than we did. A few late plays that they capitalized on. They made a really tough shot with about 20 seconds on a very well-defended play by us. And then again, we just came up a few plays short.
And this is not to, bash the officials, and it's tough, but we do want to mention it, or I want to mention it. There was a goaltend late that was missed, and instead of the game being tied at that point, you're down 2, they go down and score, and now it's 2 possessions. And look, it is what it is. Calls get missed in the first half, early in the second half, but late in the game, you need each and every one of them, and that was a big one.
Yeah, it was. And again, as you said, there were calls throughout the whole game. We're never going to hang our hat and make excuse of what it is. So we were going by the motto, control what you can control, and that's one thing that you can't control. So we had to move on. I thought our guys did a very good job of handling the situation, especially that late in such a high-impact game. Could have lost our cool in the last 30, 40 seconds, but did not. And then went down and, like I said, did a really nice job defending, forced them into a tough shot that they made a few free throws. They missed a few free throws, just wasn't quite enough time. They did a great job on a closeout whenever we tried to get off the last second 3.
Yeah, Tigers did have a look there with 5 seconds or so. Javon Smith did all he could do to get a look at the rim. Unfortunately, a nice closeout, as Coach mentioned, blocked that final shot, and Campbellsville fell by 3. And then Saturday, you turn over to Alice Lloyd's, a team that we had talked about, big physical team, that Alice Lloyd has. As we take a look at some of the numbers there from Saturday, Jerry is key with a nice performance for the Tigers. He led the way with 15 points, 3 rebounds. Keyston Brown, 12 points, 2 steals, and a block in that 73-61 victory. And then Jay Milburn, coach, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. He did a little bit of everything, you name it. We talked at length about him in the postgame. For lack of a better way to put it, he was the life raft. He saved your bacon, so to speak, on Saturday. When he made his appearance, everything changed.
He did, and it goes back to some being naive as a freshman. It's hard to come back on a back-to-back. We played really hard on Friday. It was a physical game. We had some tired legs, and I think it showed. And again, started off slowly, fought our way back, finally got some stops. But Jay did not play Friday. Wanted to get him out there, just didn't see that opportunity, but put him out there Saturday, and like you said, he was reeling like the rest of our team was off the loss, but sometimes that disheartening loss can settle in, and you have to move past it, and our guys have a lot of goals that they want to achieve, so I know there was still some disappointment from Friday, and Jay just saw himself getting an opportunity and wanted to go out there and play carefree, and he did, and again, his freshman ability to just be loose and not let any kind of pressure get to him really showed. And I think as he got better and made some plays, it loosened the rest of our guys up. And then everybody started making some plays and playing with a little more fun instead of maybe having some pressure on their shoulders. And all of a sudden you start making some shots. Javon makes some shots. KB makes a shot. We get to the rim. We continue to get stops. So just having that little bit of spark that maybe you didn't know you had at that time was really good for us.
We talked about, he was coming back down the court after every big play, whether it's a block shot or a rebound or a tap up to keep a ball alive, and then somebody else gets the rebound, whatever, he's grinning from ear to ear back down the court. It was really fun to see, that youthful exuberance from Jay. So congratulations to the Tigers on that win. We'll step away here, come back. It's a busy week for Campbellsville's men's program as well. Just like the Lady Tigers, they have 3 conference games coming up, all on the road within the next week or so. We'll talk with the head coach about that. Stay with us here on Tiger Timeout.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One final segment of Tiger Timeout here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton and Brent Vernon here in the studio as we take a look around the upcoming week for the Tigers. They go on the road for 3. You've got Thursday evening in Pulaski, Tennessee with UT Southern. Then Saturday, Cumberland University and the Phoenix await. They'll close out their first trip around the Mid-South Conference or inside the Mid-South Conference with a game against Lindsey Wilson on Tuesday of next week. And Coach, 4 games under your belt, you're right into conference play. It's the good and bad of having a large conference schedule. You really don't have a choice. You've got to get into it first semester. You've got to get into it in November to get them all in. And you take a road trip down to Tennessee, and should be some really good basketball games, especially we'll start with UT Southern.
Absolutely. And you talk about it, the first 3 on the road's tough. We lose 2 regular season games this year. You used to only play 3 to 5. First semester we're up to 7 conference games. So, just not much time. And it's here, and we got to be ready. UT Southern, a national tournament team from last year. I think they finished the 3 seed in our league and returned every starter. Turned 2 of their top 3 bench guys and brought in a couple complementary pieces is the best way to put it. So they have a very good team. They know each other well. They play well together. Very guard oriented. Darian Hudson, he's the head of the snake, really gets going, but they have some guards on the perimeter that can shoot it and score. Brady Brown does a nice job in the post. So we're going to have our hands full. We got to be very good with our defensive assignments. And then, the thing that we've struggled with the most is just putting the ball in the basket. So we got to find some ways to continue to score. And I say that, you look, we've been in the 70s most games, but it's just been so hard for them to come by. So we are finding ways to score, but we have to find a way to make the offense a little simpler for ourselves. And we're a work in progress as we continue to do that.
We'll look at a few of the numbers there that will make up this matchup. The 2 teams coming in with identical 3-1 records. Their loss coming to Texas A&M Texarkana. The Tigers and Firehawks right around the same in terms of offensive output. Field goal percentage slightly better for the Firehawks. And a couple of numbers in this game, or at least one big one I want to talk about. You guys have been able to turn teams over. You've turned that into offense. Thus far, UT Southern has turned the basketball over a little bit. That may be, strength versus weakness, and it may be the biggest key in the entire basketball game come Thursday.
Yeah, it could be. And, we're going into play on the road. I don't know if this is good or bad, but UT Southern hasn't played a home game yet, like us. They've been either on neutral or an away opponent. So it's going to be their first home game. I'm sure there'll be a good crowd. But for us, guarding them, we have to keep their guards in front if you can guard the ball, which is very tough to do against them because their guards are very quick, but if we can guard the ball and keep them in front, their size, sometimes they do make some poor decisions, but those little guys, man, they find a way to score and get to the rim, and they can make tough shots. So a couple of their guards are what I call shot makers and takers, and those guys are guys that they're going to take shots regardless. So we got to make sure we are contesting well and trying to make them as inefficient as possible.
Good vibes for your club going down there. You got a win over them late in the season last year, so hopefully that'll be fresh on your all's minds as you head there. And then Saturday, Cumberland University, one of the best teams in the country, top 25 club, lost to Marion in the Crossroads event that they played in. That's a really good Marion team that people are going to get familiar with throughout the year. But Jeremy Lewis does a terrific job as always. He's got some key components back of his club from a year ago. That's not going to be an easy one either.
Not at all, and sort of totally different from Thursday. UT Southern gets in the tournament. So does Cumberland U. Cumberland U gets a win in the tournament. They had been knocking on the door for the last 2 or 3 years, and they finally got over that hump last year. But man, Coach Lewis does such a good job. They play hard. They're physical. They're fast, but it's a different style of basketball than what you're going to see Thursday night. They try to beat you up, and it's one of those typical old school Mid-South games where you got to be able to take the contact and understand a beating's coming. They lost to Marion on a neutral floor, but played without what I think is their most important piece in Isaac Stevens, who's I think this is year number 5 with the COVID year. He's been there what seems like 8 to 9 years, and I know a lot of coaches will be happy when he exits stage left because he's a workhorse. He just brings a dynamic ability to rebound the ball and play hard and just do so many things right, and he continues to get better. So we're really going to have our hands full both games. Got to be prepared and ready, and it's always hard on those short turnarounds because right now we're only concerned about UT Southern. It's
a compliment when a coach wishes a player to graduate and move on, and as they call him, I-40, Isaac Stevens. We'll certainly be happy, Isaac, when you move on to bigger and better things. Then it feels like forever away. It's really not. You got 2 big games to prepare for, a long weekend road trip. Lindsey Wilson will be here before you know it. You'll go over there to Columbia. A lot of similar pieces. I know Elijah Jordan, you and I are both big fans of his. He's a terrific basketball player. Coach Starks and his club trying to kind of flip the script from last season. It's going to be a big one in the early portion. Just get a little more confident, especially with road games. Any of these wins are going to be big for you guys.
Yeah, talking to the guys after the game Saturday about how now, your urgency has to even pick up another notch. Everything, preparation, practice. Getting into league play, it becomes tougher. And as we know through the first 4 games, it's been tough as it is. So we have to be ready. And I think you went on the road, it's almost like getting 2. It's so hard in our league to do that. And you'll probably look at the end of the year, look at the team who wins the most road games. More than likely, it's probably going to be top 1 or 2 in our league because it's tough to do. It's stealing. So we've got to be prepared and ready. Lindsey returns a lot of pieces from last year, and you said Elijah Jordan, sort of the head of the snake. Just a player that's always in control, understands what a good shot and a bad shot is. I think there's times watching him play as an opposing coach, but I'm guessing Coach Starks is like this at times as well. Probably wishes he would shoot it more and would be a little more aggressive because his percentage is always good. He scores at a very nice clip, and sometimes when you have a player doing that, you want them to get more shots off. They may miss some, but you need them to be more aggressive. So they play extremely hard, defend well. Typical Lindsey Wilson team. Go back to Coach Peck and now Coach Starks. Very, very similar. They're going to be physical. They're going to guard. They're going to run their stuff. So it's really tough on this turnaround. As you said, got to find a way to somewhere in this get rest and prepare because for us, again, we got to take it a day at a time. So it's a lot of games in a short amount of time with a short turnaround, but we will be prepared and ready to go.
Coach, best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Tigers on the road, Pulaski, Tennessee on Thursday night. It's a Tiger-Lady Tiger doubleheader, 6:30 Eastern for Campbellsville's women's team. The men then 8:30 coverage begins at 6:15 on Saturday. 2 o'clock the start time for the Lady Tigers. The Tigers follow at 4. Coverage begins at 1:45. Thanks to Brent Vernon for joining us this week, as well as the head coach of Lady Tiger basketball, Ginger High Colvin, Matt Payton. We'll see you next time here on Tiger Timeout.